When I started my journey in project management, I didn't have an understanding of the terms that I'm about to share with you today. So I had to practice them over and over again to become confident so that when I sit in a board meeting with my stakeholders and I try to express the vision, the goal, what we're trying to accomplish, I use these project management terms. Let's dive into them. The first one is the scope. The scope has to do with everything that you're trying to accomplish, the requirements, the stakeholders, everything that you have to make sure that is accomplished in your project is found in the scope. So once you are engaging in a project, you need to make sure that the scope is clearly outlined. You see, feature A contains this and this, feature B has this and this. That is your scope. The second feature is the baseline. The baseline deals with everything that has been acknowledged, that has been accepted in your project. We have the budget, the milestones. That is where the baseline comes in. And the third is your stakeholders. Your stakeholders are very, very important. You need to understand who your stakeholders are, how you can prioritize them. So what is the definition of a stakeholder? A stakeholder is anyone that can impact or affect your project, anyone that can make any slight change in your project is your stakeholder. Example, we have the sponsors, we have the advisors, we have the mentors, we have the vendors. Anybody that can affect your project or impact it in a negative or positive way is your stakeholder. The fourth point is risks. As a project manager, you're going to deal with a lot of risks. You need to know how to identify them, how to prioritize them. Risk refers to the uncertainties that are going to happen in your projects. People confuse risks from issues. Issues are the things that are already affecting your project, whereas risk refers to the long-term things that you sit down, you analyze them and see that this might affect my project. So how do I prioritize them? For instance, the absence of a project sponsor or a stakeholder is a risk because you need to conduct meetings with them, get feedback with them, and know the way forward for your project. So you're going to deal a lot with risks. Our fifth term is deliverables. Deliverables refers to the tangible or intangible produce. That's what you have produced. If you say you're going to provide a prototype at the end of the project, then you should do it. That is your deliverables. Whatever product that you deliver, it is your deliverable. So knowing these things, knowing these terms, and knowing how to communicate them with your stakeholders, as I said earlier, anybody that can impact or affect your project is very important. Let's move to our next point. Before we do that, if you have watched up to this point, double check if you're a subscriber. That will mean a lot to me and to my team. Please subscribe. The sixth point is milestone. It's a very significant point in your project. It tracks the progress of what you have accomplished, what you need to do next, or what you are supposed to adjust to make sure that your project is in progress. For instance, you could say that our next milestone is to make sure that we finish the design phase. The seventh point, which is the critical part, this is a very important part in your project. If a delay in project A is affecting a project B, then there is no way you're going to continue with your project. You need to make sure that you finish project A, move to project B before you continue with your project. That is a very critical part in your project. So let's move on with the eighth point, which is float. Float has to deal with the time that you can tolerate without necessarily affecting your project. Let's say you have a feature that you can complete in the next 3 days. If you allow that feature and go on with another feature in your project, that is called float or slack. The next point, which is the change request. The change request is a proposal in your project that you have to change another feature, that you have to make changes. Let's say a customer or a vendor comes into you and say, we want a new feature added to this our project. You have to go through the change request system. You don't just make a change without going through that process, because it is going to affect your project scope, it is going to affect your budget, your milestones, it is going to destabilize your project. So you go through a process called the change request system to make sure that everything is flowing well. The last term, which is the 10th term, is quality assurance and quality control. What quality assurance and quality control does is that it ensures that the product that you are to deliver meets the standard of the product owner. Let's say we were supposed to build an application. What quality assurance does is that it reviews the code and makes sure that the codes are running, and quality control makes sure that it tests the code for review and the standard that you said you were going to deliver. So that is a 10-minute course that you need to master as a project manager, 10 management terms that you need to understand as a project manager in order for you to fully communicate with your stakeholders, to express yourself using project management terms. And if anything I've shared with you today resonated, if it sparked a thought, a question, or even just a feeling, then do me a favor. Hit the subscribe button, and I promise to you, alongside with my team, is to consistently bring you real, honest, and valuable content that helps you figure out project management, leadership, one conversation at a time. We bring this to you every Tuesdays and Thursday. So see you next time. Thanks for watching.